Earthlock is a JRPG that is not made by Japanese, but it is an RPG and it is just like it.
Yep. The story is that what started as a mission to rescue Ammon's uncle from an ancient cult soon spirals into an adventure that was, surprisingly, centuries in the making. Because you must bring together this group of unlikely heroes to stop the ruinous past from repeating itself!
If you know any Final Fantasy game, you know how this game goes. You walk on a world map with visible enemy encounter, then you go to specific point of interest to explore a location in order to progress the story, and in both you can encounter enemies which move you to a turn-based battle system where you switch side with enemies, and each time you make an action you can defend, you can use item, or you can attack in a different ways. It's the usual battle system in like all JRPGs.
Well, mostly, but there are a few kind of new elements. I think one of them is stances. Each character can have 2 stances, and to each stance you can connect 4 abilities. For example, range and melee. And it takes an action point to change your stance to have access to the other abilities, which can be important in some very specific combat situations, but of course it has a price. Also talents that are represented by cards that you can find or craft in the world. And there is a kind of unique grid system for who to apply the card to, and sometimes to several characters you can apply the same card if you're strategic. And finally, trust, which means that if 2 characters spend more battles working together, they will create a bond that at a certain level unlocks passive abilities that are available whenever you take those 2 characters into battle.
And in the game you will alternate between 6 characters, but you're gonna take only 4 to the battle. So it's your strategic decisions, which ones.
So these combat situations can be quite tense, but you can also take a break from time to time to go to an island base where you can farm and craft and get the material that you need to go back into battle.
And just like in old Final Fantasy games, once again, you can only save at specific locations. But this game is not as that long. It takes about 20 to 30 hours.
So that gives you a general idea of what Earthlock has to offer. The question is, should you play it? But first, you should know that this game will be completely free from the Epic Games Store for 1 week, starting November 16th, 2023. And if you add it to your library during that time, you keep it forever. That is what we do on this channel. We play and review every free weekly game from the Epic Games Store, so you never have to be bored ever again. And it's important for you to know that we review all the free games from Epic, and that's why we're reviewing this, not because we are a channel about turn-based games, and because I am not a big fan of turn-based games, and I have not played almost any JRPGs, surprisingly. And so this game might not be the best example for why maybe not the best experience of a JRPG, because it kind of made me feel like I know why I don't play many JRPGs.
Okay.
The story was hard to get into, and I feel like didn't really go anywhere. I didn't get an attachment to the characters. It depends on the JRPG, but the graphics were not great in this game. The strongest thing is the combat, but I could not get into the combat, not only because it's turn-based, but because things like you are one character on the world map, and then suddenly in the combat, you like 4 characters appear out of your pocket or something. It just was immersion breaking, and I never felt the combat was really tense or engaging. So overall, it's not a bad game. If you're a big fan of the genre, sure, but for me, no, I won't be playing more of this.
Okay. I actually disagree with you, Caleb, about the battle system, because I think that's probably the best thing about the game. Everything else is like more like mediocre compared to other games, which is logical that this is an indie developer, and I think they made a great job trying to like reproduce the retro JRPG games, how it like used to be in that time, but they cannot match with the story, with the characters, with anything. So I'm not sure there is a lot of people who would choose this one over the famous titles like Final Fantasy. Maybe only because it's free, and if you don't have any other choices, you haven't played any other JRPGs, if you love this one, then you're gonna want to continue to other real JRPGs, and then you're gonna be even more happy. So maybe only like that, but I don't think you miss a lot if you skip this one.
So we hope that was useful. If you're looking for another game that's based on turn-based combat that we found more engaging, we also reviewed For the King, and you can check out that review next.
Hope to see you next time.
Bye.